The Samsung Galaxy Note 10 is finally here. Samsung has unveiled their highest-end smartphone for 2019, or should I say, smartphones. Because yes, we now have two Galaxy Notes, the Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus, something that we haven't really had since the Note 4 and the Note Edge. So here are 30 interesting facts and things you may not know about the Galaxy Note 10. So grab some snacks and here's, well, all of those. To keep your Mac running fast and secure, check out Intego's Premium Bundle X9 that includes a number of very useful tools for your Mac. Use the link below to get a 60% discount. So did you know that you can actually turn your Galaxy Note 10 into a full desktop PC? Yes, you can actually do that. And did you also know that you can already do this with the Note 9, the Note 8, the S10, the S9, and the S8 as well? So here's how to do it. If you have an S9, Note 9, or newer, you just need to connect a USB Type-C cable from a monitor to your phone, and then your phone will actually boot into this DeX mode, which will be displayed on the monitor, and then with an external keyboard and a mouse, you have full access to this desktop interface and full desktop versions of Chrome, Microsoft Office, and more. This is perfect for people who don't want to buy a separate PC, but still want something to work from when they get home. So they just connect their phones to the monitor, and yeah, there you go, you have the full desktop experience. How amazing is that? Now, the Note 10 did add a brand new feature in terms of DeX, so now you can actually connect it to your laptop as well, and your laptop is the one that will turn into the display, the keyboard, and the mouse for DeX. Yes, you can actually interact with your Note through DeX on your laptop. This is just incredible, and you have full access to all of your apps, documents, and messages. So this will work on both Windows as well as Mac OS. So yeah, no matter what laptop you have, as long as you're not running Linux, you should be fine. And one of my favorite features of a Samsung phone that unfortunately not a lot of people know about is actually VR. So Samsung phones from the S7 and newer support Samsung's own GearVR headset. Now these have actually dropped down in price considerably, so you can find one for just under $40 or 33 pounds in the UK. I've actually left the link for that in the description box down below. But a GearVR is the best mobile VR headset for a smartphone out right now. It was made in partnership with Oculus, by the way, and no, it won't be as good as the Oculus Quest or even the Oculus Go, but it is amazing. It is an amazing accessory to have, especially if you haven't tried VR before. I mean, you even have a controller that you can use in games and apps. I loved mine, and you should honestly get one, especially if you have a Samsung phone. However, if you have a Note 10 Plus, you would not be able to use the GearVR headset at all, just because the Note 10 Plus is too big. It's too wide, so it doesn't really fit. Now, we actually had the same issue with the Note 9 from last year. That one didn't fit either, and Samsung released another model of the GearVR, a larger one, that you had to buy separately. However, the S10 and S10 Plus actually fit perfectly in the previous version of the GearVR. So since the regular Note 10 is smaller, this one should fit in, right? And yes, it does. It actually fits perfectly. However, Samsung has officially confirmed that the Note 10s are not supported by the GearVR at all. So this means that even if you have the smaller Note 10 variant, which would physically fit inside the GearVR, you won't be able to use it at all because the software support just isn't there. Now, if you care about the microSD card, the good news is that the Note 10 still supports it. The bad news is that it's only the Note 10 Plus that does support it. So yeah, if you have the smaller Note 10 variant, this one has no microSD card slot at all. But you do get 256GB as the baseline option on both, and then there's also a 512GB option for the Note 10 Plus, but only if you choose to go with the 5G variant. And I mean, 256GB is more than enough for most people, especially since everything you do on a smartphone today is either on social media apps, for which you don't need any storage at all, or browsing the web, for which again you don't really need any storage, any significant storage at all. And then even photos in Google Photos are fully backed up to the cloud, and you get unlimited storage, by the way, for free for photos up to 60 megapixels in size and videos up to 1080p. And speaking of storage, both Note 10s are Samsung's first release smartphones to come with the brand new UFS 3.0 storage. So this gives you up to 1.5 gigabytes per second read speeds from about 700 megabytes per second like we had with UFS 2.1, which was, by the way, what the Samsung Galaxy S10 used. So the entire system UI, the boot time, and the app launch time, everything should be and also feel much faster than the S10 was just from a few months ago. And speaking of the S10, we actually do get some downgrades, not just upgrades, moving to the Note 10. For example, the front-facing camera, even though it's a 10 megapixel sensor on both, the Note 10s have an f1.2 aperture compared to the f1.9 on the S10. So this means that while you do get a sharper image from the front-facing camera, the front camera on the Note 10 is in fact worse in low light than the one on the S10. Now, when it comes to the back-facing camera, even though this uses the exact same modules as the S10s, we actually do get one single small improvement. The telephoto module now has an f2.1 aperture from the f2.4 on the S10, which means that the zoom module is now better in low light on the Note 10 from the S10. So yeah, finally, that's awesome. And something else that was awesome were those Samsung Genius ads. Who remembers those? Where Samsung actually made fun of the Apple iPhone X for not having a fast charger in the box, and especially for not having a headphone jack and needing a dongle. Well, now since the Note 10s, they both lack the headphone jack, Samsung has removed the ads from YouTube entirely, since, you know, they would have made fun of their own phone if they were still up there. And speaking of ingenious, one of my favorite features on the S10 was reverse wireless charging. The ability to charge any wireless charging device from the back of your S10. How cool is that? So devices such as the Samsung Galaxy Watch or the Galaxy Buds headphones or even another phone such as an iPhone. Well, the Note 10 has this as well, but did you guys know that we also have faster wireless charging now, up to 20 watts versus 15 watts on the S10 Plus. And speaking of charging, the Note 10 now supports up to 45 watts of fast charging compared to the 15 watts on the S10. So this is a massive improvement, and this is even faster than OnePlus's 35 watt warp charging that we have on the OnePlus 7 Pro. However, while the Note 10 does indeed support 45 watt fast charging, the charger that comes in the box only supports 25 watts. So for the full 45 watt of charging, you need to buy a separate charger. Samsung does sell one on their website, and I've also included some links down below with some alternatives to Samsung's own 45 watt fast charger, which are a bit more affordable. And speaking of accessories, in some of the previous videos, I did say that Samsung does include a 3.5mm headphone jack adapter in the box based on the leaks and reports that we've seen. But Samsung is now selling a 3.5mm adapter on their website. So this is either a separate adapter that you can buy, separately, or it could also mean that there is no more 3.5mm headphone jack adapter included in the box. Now, if you go to their listing of what's actually included in the box, there is actually no mention of it. So yeah, chances are that you need to buy a separate accessory if you want to use regular headphones. Now, one of the main reasons, or actually the main reason why the Galaxy Note line exists, is for that S Pen. And this year, the built-in S Pen got even better. So Samsung added a gyroscope as well as an accelerometer, which means that you can now track 6 axes of movement. So this means that you can use this in apps such as the camera app to scroll through the modes, whereas before the only functionality that you had in the camera app with the S Pen was that you could press the side button and take a photo, and that was it. And speaking of buttons, there is no more Bixby button this time on the Note 10. Yes, Samsung has now removed it, and even at the Unpacked event, there was no mention of Bixby at all. However, Bixby is still present on the Note. You just have to hold the power button in order to activate it. And yes, this also means that turning your Note off has also been remapped. Now, going back to the S Pen, if you get the black Note 10, you would get a black S Pen. If you get the blue or the glow variants of the S Pen, you would get the blue S Pen. And if you get the white Note 10, you would get the white S Pen. So yeah, there's no more yellow S Pen or pink or brown or any weird colors like that. However, it seems to me like the default color, the drawing color when using the S Pen is now yellow, whereas before it actually matched the color of the S Pen that you had. Now, something that a lot of people know about is that Samsung has also equipped the Note 10s with brand new processors from the S10 that just launched a few months ago. We have the Snapdragon 855 Plus versus the Snapdragon 855 like we had on the S10, and then the Exynos 9825 from the 9820 that we had again on the S10. But okay, why do we have two different CPU models? Well, you see, if you get the US and Canadian models of the Note 10, you would get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 Plus model of the processor, whereas if you buy the international model of the Note 10s, you would get Samsung's own Exynos 9825 processor. And did you guys know that there are actually a few differences in performance between these two CPUs? So the Exynos processor is more powerful in single-core performance, whereas the Snapdragon processor is more powerful in the multi-core performance. Now, realistically, you shouldn't be able to tell the difference between one another. However, with the S10, the Note 9, and the S9, the Snapdragon models actually had a noticeably better battery life by up to even 2 hours. So yeah, if you do have the option to pick between the two, I would say wait until the actual battery tests are done by the community, tech community, because Samsung won't be doing those, and you'll be able to see which one is actually better. So yeah, definitely subscribe and notifications because we might do a few tests of those of our own. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Now, when it comes to the actual RAM, it seems like most of the leaks were actually wrong. So only the baseline Note 10 has 8GB of RAM. The 256GB model of the Note 10, the 5G edition, as well as both models of the Note 10 Plus come with 12GB of RAM as standard, which is just amazing. And did you guys know that you can actually record 4K videos with a front-facing camera on both of these? How amazing is that? And when it comes to that front camera, since we no longer have a dual camera module on the front like on the S10 Plus or even the S10 5G, portrait mode shots with a front-facing camera won't be as good as on those two phones, since we only have one camera module measuring the data rather than 2 or 3. Now, when you get your Note 10, by using the links below, of course, do make sure that you change the resolution to Quad HD from 1080p. since 1080p is the one that's set by default from the factory, and obviously it's not as sharp as, the actual native resolution of these phones. Now, this also applies to the S10 and any new Samsung phone released after and including the S7. However, this only applies to the Note 10 Plus and not the regular Note 10, and that's because the regular Note 10 only comes with a 1080p display compared to over Quad HD. However, the difference in the pixel density isn't that massive. So we have 401 ppi on the Note 10 versus 495 on the Note 10 Plus. So yeah, realistically, you shouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two unless you look very, very closely. And then both Note 10s are actually amazing for gaming. Not just because of that large display on both, but also because they both feature a vapor chamber, which is no longer just a copper pipe like we had before, but an actual rectangular surface which covers the entirety of the CPU in order to keep the temperatures down when gaming. And definitely one of my favorite features from the Note 10 event was the ability to 3D scan an object. Yes, the Note 10 Plus has a depth sensing time-of-flight camera on the back, and with this you can move around an object and fully scan it in 3D. And then you can rotate the object on your phone, and you have the full color version of it as well, and you can even print it in real life using a 3D printer, and you can also animate the object so that it tracks your movement. This is honestly the coolest feature that I've seen on a smartphone over the last 5 years or so. And this is also an actual practical use rather than, just a gimmick fun feature like Apple's Animojis are, for example. So you know how most smartphones today have this portrait mode? This is something that Apple introduced with the iPhone 7 back in 2016, iPhone 7 Plus actually. And the iPhone XS, for example, can actually do real-time portrait mode, which means that you can see how the portrait mode will look like even before you've taken the shot. Well, the Note 10 just got live portrait video. This is really cool. So this means that you get the same effect that you would normally get in portrait mode for photos. However, this effect is actually applied in real time for every single frame of the video. So 30 or 60 times every single second, which is just unbelievable. So not even Apple does this with the Apple A12 processor, and that chip is actually more powerful than what Samsung has. And a weird new feature is the ability to zoom on actual sound. Yes, essentially what this is that it increases the gain of the microphone as well as the volume of the speakers of the device. But it's a pretty cool thing, especially when it comes to recording video. And both Note 10s are now significantly thinner than the Note 9 from last year. So both measure 7.9mm versus 8.8 that we had with the Note 9. And this is definitely noticeable in the hand. Now, Samsung hasn't really mentioned this, but the Note 10 also comes with Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 802.11ax built in. The Note 9 only had 802.11ac, so this means that with the Note 10, you can theoretically go up to about 3.5 gigabits per second, which is just unbelievable on a smartphone. So yeah, there you go guys, 30 things you probably didn't know about the Galaxy Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and you want to see more interesting tech videos like this one. This wasn't an easy one to make, so I hope you guys appreciate all the effort that went into this video. So yeah, definitely hit the bell icon if you have enjoyed it to be notified whenever another new video comes out. Give it a like if you have enjoyed it again to let me know. And also, let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about the Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus? Do you think it's worth it over the Note 9? How do you think the upgrade is over the S10 and the S10 Plus? But yeah, check out the other Note 10 videos that we've done before in the past few days. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'm Daniel. I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.